So we're learning Tanya, Igeres HaKodesh Sacred Letters, letter 26 on page 288. We're towards the end of the letter. But our dear student Yoini asked me a question after the class on WhatsApp, and I was very, very glad. Yoini, you want to repeat your question out loud, if you don't mind, briefly? Hello? Are you there? He's frozen.
He's frozen.
Oh, okay. Then we will follow up on that a little later. So the Alter Rebbe in this chapter talks about the importance of bringing down the Shechina that's in Golus, bringing it into our lives vis-a-vis the analytical process through Talmud. So Yoini Sprecher, our dear student, asked me yesterday the following question, and that is, Chasidus, where would Chasidus fit into? Is Chasidus considered like the Gemara, Iyun and Pilpul? And the answer, briefly, is the style of learning Chabad of Chasidus, the way the Chabad Rebbe Reb Sholem Ber suggests, which is Be'iyun, which is in a manner of Chochmah Bina Das, analytical, dissecting, opening up, would fall into that category. It's called Be'iyun. But Chasidus, Yoini, is not Gemara. Chasidus is not Mishnah. Chasidus is not Halacha. In fact, what we're learning in this chapter is that in the world of Kabbalah, Les Tamon Kushya, the whole realm of questions doesn't apply to the study of Kabbalah. The study of Kabbalah is called Chochmas HaEmes, the wisdom of truth. Truth is clarity. There's no questions. It's clear. So the teachings of Kabbalah are clear. Chasidus is not Kabbalah. I've said this many times, and people make a big mistake. They think Chasidus is Kabbalah. Chasidus is not Kabbalah. In fact, it's two opposite ways on the street. One's going this way and one's coming this way. Kabbalah takes man and undresses him and makes him God-like. And that's why you see sometimes pictures in Kabbalah books of a man stripped with right is chesed and left is gevura, right? So Kabbalah seeks to be mystical, secretive, unknown. Chasidus is just the opposite. The Torah, the Baal Shem Tov, is just the opposite. To take God and dress him up. What does it mean that God's right hand, what does God's right hand mean? God's left hand, God's compassion. What does that mean? These are human terms for godly concepts. Well, how do we understand it? So Chasidus, in particular Chabad Chasidus, spends most of its pages on these ideas. How to bring the deepest esoteric ideas into real life. So, Yoini, when you study Chabad Chasidus, you need to study it Be'iyun. So then it would have this virtue that we're learning in Tanya now. But I don't want you to make the mistake and to think that Chabad Chasidus or Chasidus in general is Mishnah or Gemara, etc. I hope that's clear. Now let's continue. Page 288. In the middle of page after period. I'm sorry?
I said thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Maskil Yovin, we're in the middle of page after the period, after the word Mehariza. Maskil Yovin Inyam Pela Godel Mi Mizemi Oid, the intellect will comprehend a wondrous, a perplexing, a great perplexing issue. What happens in heaven through analysis, clarification of halacha that's derived from the Gemara and its commentaries, its authorities, early authorities, which was concealed before the analysis, halazu. Says the Alter Rebbe, you know what is accomplished spiritually? You extract from this law the negative energy called klippos, which concealed and covered it. It wasn't known. It was concealed, hidden. Or it wasn't understood properly with its reasoning. Reasoning is the esoteric idea of the sphera called wisdom. Wisdom milah, choch milah. Supernal wisdom. Which descended into this world through the falling of the sparks. And those sparks are in exile. The negative extraneous forces dominate over these sparks. And they conceal the wisdom of Torah from the upper and the lower. So therefore, what takes place when you go through the analytical process, you reveal and you extract the holy spark, and you shed away the chaff, the nonsense. You understand? That's what's happening, Moshe Byers, when you learn properly a piece of Gemara. And this explains the saying of the section Zohar called Raya Mehemna, quote, Shahakushya hi misita dara. Questions is for the side of evil. Sometimes you'll hear someone, when you challenge someone, especially someone who knows Chasidus, they'll say, your questions are from the Klippa. Questions are Klippa. The realm of questions, the realm of the lack of clarity is Klippa orientation. It's negative orientation, because Kedusha, holiness, it's clear, it's crystal clear. There's no questions. When do you have questions? When do you have questions? When you have questions? When you have confusion, doubts. How lucky is the person when they're able to feel clarity. And clarity brings along surety, confidence, strength. But when you have questions, you have doubts, and you say, maybe this, maybe that. By the way, it's the month of Adar. Amalek, the enemy. The Amalek, the Gematria Amalek, Suffolk is Gematria Amalek. Right? So, the idea of doubts, Amalek casts doubts. How can you be such a powerful Jewish people? We attack you right when you come out of the Red Sea, after the miracle of the Red Sea, the splitting of the Red Sea, right? It's always the doubt. Doubt is not Kabbalah. That's what he says here. He said, look, Sheha kushya hi besitra dara, all questions. Now, I don't want you to think, therefore, we shouldn't question. Of course you should question, but the realm of questions is associated with doubt. Let's continue. The last line on page 288. Next page, Kuf Mem Hey. The supernal ones, the angels, the celestial beings. You would think, Moshe, the angels, malachim, neshamas, they can take something that's not clear, extract the holy spark, and make it good. Says the Alter Rebbe, no, they don't have that koyach. Mehashvira shebeklipa, they can't elevate the sparks that fell from the breaking of the vessels i.e. to the klippas noiga, to the translucent klippa. Ella, only us. Hatachtoinim, the lower ones. Levad, us alone. Lefi shehem meluboshim beguf chumri, because it is invested in the corporeal physical body, mishche dechivya, the skin of the serpent, miklipas noiga, from the translucent klippa. Hey, misyat matishim, and they weaken koicha, the power of the klippa, b'shviras hatayvis, by shattering the indulgences and the lusts. V'yiskafya sitracha, subjugating the negative side. V'yisportu poyale ovim, and this is a quote from a verse, and it will separate all actions that are both ovens with an aleph, but it also had, you could read it with the ayin, the actions of weakness and sin. So how does that happen? That happens through us. The angels can't do it. The stars can't do it. People walk around with pins. This is my angel. Fool! You have a soul. You're greater than an angel. You don't need an angel. Yeah, granted, we know in the Torah, Hashem sent angels to protect Sodom and to help Sarah. But a Jew, by nature, the neshama, is higher than anything. And if you live with your neshama, you don't need no angels. You don't need no pins. You just need to live with your neshama. When we don't leave with our neshama, and our neshama takes a back seat and it's obscure, then we need an angel to help us. That's why it's Parshas Tetzaveh, Cheved, this Shabbos, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses says to Hashem, if you are going to eliminate the Jewish people because of the sin of the golden calf, Mocheni no mesifrecha, erase me from your book. And guess what, guys? There's only one Parsha in all of the Torah, since Moshe is born till after he passes on, that his name is not mentioned. What's the Parsha? This Parsha, Parshas Tetzaveh. When did Moshe pass away? This Friday, the 7th of Adar. What's the Parsha this week? Parshas Tetzaveh. But the Rebbe has a wonderful, deeper explanation. Why is it that Moshe says, erase me from your book, if you are going to eliminate the Jews? Which he didn't at the end. But even the thought caused an elimination of Moshe's name in one Parsha, Parshas Tetzaveh. The Rebbe explains that is because the Jews and Moshe are one. A leader, a nasi of the Jewish people and the people are one. Inseparable. If you eliminate the Jews, I'm eliminated automatically. So mentioning me in the Torah portion, I don't exist because you got rid of my people. You got rid of me. And that's the level of love and concern we have to have for each other. It's not one hand with another hand, but they're two separate people. It's my right and my left. It's the same person. It comes from me. They're my hands. Ahavas Yisrael means part of me has love for the other part of me. Moshe says, and this is what a real leader is. A real leader is, without you, I am nothing. It's not as though I can be a leader without you. I can't. You make me a leader. So why am I saying this in the middle of this piece of Tanya here? Because the Alter Rebbe says that the angels, the celestial beings, they cannot extract the sparks that are in Golus, that are in exile. Only we. Let's continue. Here's another phenomenal statement. Listen to this. Avram. Therefore, there come the Elyonim, the upper ones, the angels and others. They come l'shmaya, to hear chidushay Torah, the novelties in Torah, mehatachtenim, from us. Yes, Moshe, when you learn the chitas or whatever you're learning in HaKodesh before or after davening, etc., guess what? The angels are saying, hey, I got to come to shul to listen to the little shir. got to come to my shir? Who am I? That's what it says. And it's a pasuk. Hayosheves beganim chaverim makshivim lekolech. Those that sit in the gardens, referring to the angels, they come to listen to the sound of Torah coming from the Beis Medrash. I heard an interesting story. The Rebbe lived on President Street between Brooklyn and New York Avenues in Crown Heights. But he lived, I think, on the odd side. When his mother, Rebbe Tzimcha Schneerson, lived in a building 18 or something off President Street and Kingston. But it was the same side. I'm sorry, so maybe it was the same side as the Rebbe. I don't know if it was the odd or the even side. When he walked, so every day about 3 o'clock, before he came back to 770, he would go home 2:30 to be home with his wife. And then at 3 o'clock, he would walk down President Street from his house, a block, to his mother's building to visit his mother every day as derech eretz. And he was there 15, 20 minutes, whatever. He had a cup of tea with her, and then he walked from there to 770 back to his office. But sometimes he would walk also back on to his house. When he walked back, he would cross over the street. And we wondered, why is he crossing over the street? His house is on the same side as his mother's building. So someone pointed out to me, I was talking to someone about some history of Crown Heights, and he said that they say that he walked by because he wanted to hear the koil of Torah, the sound of Torah, coming out of the Chaim Berlin kollel called Kollel Gur Aryeh. And at HaKodesh you have some people who are Chaim Berlinics. Ask them. I wonder if there's anyone there who learned in the kollel, because you had to have learned there probably in the 50s, maybe 60s. Kollel Gur Aryeh on President Street between Kingston and Brooklyn. So the Rebbe crossed over so that as he went by, he can hear the sounds of Torah coming out from the kollel. The idea is that the koil, that's what Dalfin Rebbe says here. Look what it says. The supernal ones come to hear the novelties of Torah from the lower ones. The fact that they reveal and they create the secrets of Chachma, which was until that time conquered in exile, until now, Cholish Yisrael, and every single Jew, Yuchel Egalis Talumis Chachma. You don't have to be a rabbi, a scholar, a ben Torah, a koil man. Every Jew can reveal the secrets of Chachma, Legalis u'Lechadish, to reveal and to create. Seichel Chodesh, a new idea. Hey Hilchos Halachos, both in law, halacha. Hey Bagodas, both also in story and agadata. Hey Benigla, both also in the revealed part of Torah. Hey Benistim, the concealed part. Kefi Pchina Sheidish Moshe, based on the source of the soul that you're given. Not only can we, Chevri, hear this, we are obligated to complete our soul by elevating all sparks, which has fallen to its portion and lot, Kenoid as it's known. And this idea is explained elsewhere, but briefly, we all have an obligation to extract all sparks from all parts of Torah. So someone can't say to you, Isser, why are you learning Tanya? Why are you learning Chasidus? Did you learn Shas yet? This is a common argument by some to those that study Chasidus and they don't. First finish Shas or Poskim. It's called the Malas is Kresai. Fill up your stomach with the entire Talmud, right? Become a Baki in Shas, or at least learn Shas, and then you learn Chasidus. And then for sure, surely Kabbalah. But you haven't learned all of Shas, so where are you going to Chasidus? I'm sure you've heard this. I don't know if Moshe you heard it in Isser. I don't know if you went to the same, what's the called, the yeshiva over there? Your yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael that you went to. But this was a common argument out in the real hardcore Litvish yeshivas, right? The Alter Rebbe says, sorry guys, you can question from today to tomorrow. The Arizal says that if you don't learn every part of Torah, your neshama is lacking. I don't care how frum you are and how much you know. If you don't invest in every part of Torah throughout your lifetime, you have to come back again. He says it's not my chiddush. The Arizal says, and I think we can rely on the Arizal. So the Alter Rebbe kind of alludes to this concept here, and therefore he says that don't walk away thinking that only these holy people and big people can refine the sparks, extract the sparks, but every single Jew can. Let's continue. The whole divrei Torah, and this refers to the whole divrei Torah and all words of Torah, wafrat var halacha, specifically halacha. Hu nitzutz mashchina, it is a spark of the divine presence. It is Dvar Hashem, is the word of God. As we find in the Gemara, Dvar Hashem, the word of God, of the Lord, Zu halacha, this is law. Said Malchus Datzilus, the esoteric concept of Malchus Datzilus, Hamalabeshes, Lechochma, Datzilus, is the garment for Chochma, the wisdom of the Datzilus, Umluboshim, but Malchus the Yetzira, and it's invested in the clothing, in the garment of Malchus Yetzira, V'yordu, B'klipas Neik, B'shuz Kalim, and it descended through the shattering of the sparks in Klipas Neik. Right. But Zeshik, so after the parentheses. And this is what the Gemara says. Whoever studies Torah, Omer HaKodesh Baruch Hu, God says, Maila ni alov, I consider the person for doing Ki'ilu Puda'ani. This person has redeemed me, Ve'ezbonai, and my children, Mibein ha'umos, from the nations, from the non-Jew, the Galilim idol worshippers. In other words, you redeem God and you redeem the Jews from exile. When Mashiach will come and the Shechina will exit the Klippa after the process of refinement of sparks, and at that time the sparks will be separated, the good from the bad, and all the bad will be obliterated, and at that time there won't be dominion for the tree of good and bad, but says because we take out the good from it. Here the Alter Rebbe answers, what's going to be, Menashe, what's going to be the purpose of studying Torah and doing mitzvahs when Mashiach comes? Now we're saying, what's the purpose of putting on tefillin? The purpose is, besides you're listening to God, who says in the Torah to put tefillin, you're extracting a spark that's found in the straps of the tefillin when you make a blessing and you put them on your head. When Mashiach will come, the Messianic age will be such that those sparks will all be reunited with God in its proper place. So why study Torah? Why do mitzvahs? It's been done already. That's the question. So the Alter Rebbe says, you're right. When Mashiach comes, Isser, the purpose will be not levarer birurin, to refine the sparks. Kiyim leyached yichudim. Oh, to do yichud, unity. You know, refining the sparks is getting down and dirty. It ain't right. Right? It's down and dirty. You gotta get involved with stupidity, with issues, and you have to work on refining the situation. That's pre-Messiah, pre-Mashiach. Post-Mashiach, the Mashiach era is such that'll be completed. So what's the purpose of mitzvahs? To unite God, and God's presence should be more felt throughout the world. So that the baseball team and the football team and the soccer team and the run team, when they'll see a star, a player who's known as a star, they won't say, "Oh, that's Michael Jordan, how great, he's refined his body." They'll say, "Michael Jordan, lahavdil, not Jewish, is a vessel for God. I see God in the basketball. I see God in the jump." It's different than saying, "Well, this is someone," or Bill Gates starts off in a garage, Bill Gates or the guy from Apple, whoever it is, starts off in a garage and becomes a billionaire. So that's refinement. That's, you're in the garage, you're in the schmutz, you're in the problem, you work yourself up and you become a billionaire, right? That's the process of Golus, where you work at something, and it's a very important process, as we learned here. What will be the Mashiach experience? Mashiach experience means that, not that you'll look at these situations that they came from nothing and they became something. It's about unity of God. God, Hashem, Achdus, it's called in Hebrew. Achdus Hashem will be felt more and more. That's the purpose of Torah and mitzvahs when Mashiach comes. That's what he says. Look inside the text. The purpose of mitzvahs, Torah mitzvahs, will be to unite and make spiritual unions. Drawing down greater energies, even higher than Atzilus, as the Arizal writes. And all of this is done through the study of the inner dimension of Torah, i.e. Kabbalah, Chasidus, L'kayim, HaMitzvahs, B'kavonos Elyonos, to do the mitzvahs, having in mind supernal intent, Shemechuvanos L'oiros Elyonim, which are situated, are directly eliciting supernal energies, because the source of mitzvahs is above in God. Now the parentheses. Rebbe asks a question. So what do the sages mean that mitzvahs will be annulled when Mashiach comes? Hello? What does that mean? You're telling me mitzvahs is so great that even when Mashiach comes, we'll do mitzvahs because it's about the unity of God, causing more unity. It's not about refinement, it's about unity. It's not about birur, but it's about yichud. So why did the Chazal say that mitzvahs betelos le'osed lava, mitzvahs will be annulled when Mashiach comes? Answers the Alter Rebbe. Hainu b'tchiyos hamesim. That's at the first stage of the Messianic stage, known as the resurrection of the dead. Avol imayis Mashiach, turn the page, top of 290. But during the Messianic days, which is the next stage, sorry, take that back. Prior to, it's the stage before, prior to the resurrection, ein betelim. And this is a very interesting answer. When we say mitzvahs will be annulled, it's not talking about the first stage of Mashiach. When we'll have the resurrection, there's a concept of annulment. By the way, in Chasidus, my recollection is that it's not that simple either. God forbid to think that mitzvahs won't be important when Mashiach comes, even in the second stage. So we need more clarification here. We're not going to go into it. That's why when Mashiach will come, the primary mode of learning Torah will be b'pnimius mitzvahs, in the inner idea of mitzvahs, taimeim anistorim, and their secret reasons. What happens when you put on tefillin? What happens when you give tzedakah? So we know you help someone, but what's really going on in heaven when you do those mitzvahs? That will be our study, and it will be revealed to us when Mashiach comes. Aval haniglos yegluyim v'yeduyim lakolish Yisrael b'yediyat chila. What's revealed, not the secrets, will be open to everyone. B'li shikha, without forgetfulness. Ve'ein tzarech lasa b'hem, and one won't have to study those parts. Ela erev rav, only the mixed multitude. Shlo yisku lemitam milona dechaya, who didn't merit the taste from the tree of life. Shu pnimis haTorah. Chevre, it says clearly, the tree of life is the inner aspect of Torah. You hear that? Chasidus, Kabbalah is ilona dechaya. V'amitzvus, v'tzichem la'asik b'Torah b'Mishnah, and we have to learn Torah, Mishnah, lahatish koyach hasitracha, to weaken the negative side, hadovik behem, that's cleaved to hem, shlitishlu behem, they shouldn't have dominion, lachtiam, to make them sin. K'dechsiv, as it says, v'achoyte b'meyashona, the sinner is 100 years old, yikulal, he'll be cursed. Sheyu choytim me'erev rav, they'll be cursed by sinning through the mixed multitude. The Gamla Maisi Yitzrichim Leproti Alochas, and that's why when Mashiach comes, we will need the details of what's forbidden, the halachas of what's forbidden and what's impure. Yosem mi Yisrael sheli yerel psul v'tumah v'aser, more so that we shouldn't come to that situation. K'lo because it's inevitable. It says that for tzaddik not to sin. There is such a statement. So if we're all going to be like tzaddikim when Mashiach comes, there won't be a Yetzer Hara. So what's the concept? The concept is, nevertheless, you shouldn't come to a situation where you make a mistake. The Gam Efshe v'Korav Adov, the Alter Rebbe says it's also possible, and very, very possible, she yodu of Pnimis HaTorah, that they knew of the Pnimis HaTorah, the inner, the Kol Gufi HaTorah, Niglis, all of the Torah, Avram Avinu L'Sholem. Avram knew the secrets of Torah, and Avram knew Kabbalah. That's why he didn't have to. The question is, did Avram learn Kabbalah, Moshe? Did Avram learn Chasidus? The answer is he knew it. Because he was on that level, so he didn't have to learn it. Mashen came, conversely, Bisman Beis Hamikdash, the time of the second temple. You had to learn these things, even if not for the practical halacha. This was the main mode during the second temple, to weaken the negative side, and to elevate the sparks, and service. And after these words and truth, Yuvan Hated will understand well B'Taisa's beer with additional explanation. Harayim Mehem, the delay of the teaching of the Rayim Mehemna, B'Masha Omar, in his saying, it's saying, Ilon the Toivara, that it's a tree of good and bad. But Tzelayim and Klipas Noiga, it's translucent klippa. It's not bad, it's not good, it's in between. Shoilam Hazeh, referring to this world, Ha'ikir Kamashkosa B'Itz Chaim V'Dal, the main thing that says in Itz Chaim, and enough said. We went fast, but Gamzu Yavro. One day we'll get back to it. Have a great day, everyone. Tomorrow we start chapter 27 and 28 is about the passing of Rabbi Yitzchak ben Ditzer's son, all about what happens to a tzaddik's soul after their passing. And these are the two chapters that Chabad Hasidim have been talking about and learning about and quoting, and it's good to learn the original, which is the up next two chapters. Moshe Myers, you want to say something?
I'm just going to ask a question, Rav. The purpose of mitzvahs that you're talking about, is it also that, are we going to be teaching the Goyim, and are they chiyuv? Are the Goyim chiyuv to Torah after Mashiach, or
the Goyim are never they're not mechuyev, they're not obligated to learn 613, but they are for the 7 mitzvahs, and that's yes, we will be doing that. And the Rebbe in the 80s suggested that we start now because we're pre-Mashiach, so we do teach 7 universal law, but to say that they have an obligation to learn the 613, never. No, it's not for them. They're Goyim. Now there's a whole question. There's a whole question. Are Goyim going to become Yidden? But there's a machlokes. It's also another Sikha the Rebbe. But I believe the final opinion is that no, they won't be. They'll have no obligation to be Jewish, and hence they'll remain goyim, but goyim in the most righteous way of doing the 7 universal mitzvahs. Have a great day, everyone.
Okay,
Zaygas, and take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good talk. Bye bye.